Welcome back to the podcast. Got a very special guest for you today. This is a dude that is in the real estate mortgage space like I am. He is, what I'm most excited about is his passion and understanding of content marketing. And so with me on the show today, I have Mr. Neil Dingra. Neil, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, thanks, Brandon, for having me, dude. I love your content as well, dude. So I'm just glad we got to finally get it on each other's calendar. That's a battle these days as well.
It is a battle, and you're exactly right. I wanted to collab with you. I think I love your work, and just for you guys that are going to watch this interview, I'm going to link to all Neil's social channels underneath this video. Go check him out. His Instagram is Total Fire, and so I'm really looking forward to pick your brain on what you see working from a content perspective, and what value can add to the audience today. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, big time. I'm excited.
So for the people that don't follow you or don't know who you are, quick, just run down what you do, who you are, what you're focused on.
So I think I used to say, I'm a mortgage lender, but what I've changed to over the years is I'm a content creator, right? Because without the attention first, none of these things I'm doing can grow. So first and foremost, I'm a content creator. And then I also run a mortgage branch team division within a company. We have a bunch of loan officers and production people that work with me, and we do quite a bit of business every year, just our team. But then we also help a lot of real estate agents that we partner with their marketing and strategy and digital and lead conversion and all that stuff. And then as I started to really grow my business and put myself out there with content, a lot of people started reaching out within the industry, mortgage and real estate. So I also set up a separate entity where we help realtors and lenders create content that people actually want to watch, that gets engagement, that gets you business results. Because there's so much noise as far as like what you should be doing on social media and video, and everybody knows they need to do it, but they're so confused or scattered that they don't do any of it. So we kind of wanted to clarify that, just because I was getting so many messages from people within the industry. And I speak at a lot of events like real estate, mortgage, industry, housing events, finance events. And afterwards, people are like, yo, how do I do what you're doing? Or can we jump on a call? And it just got to be like, wow, there's a lot of people that need help with this stuff. So that's why we leaned into that.
I love it. Yeah. And I would agree with you 100%. Like a lot of people in our industry, both mortgage and real estate, and you nailed it. The thing that you said first is that you're a content creator first, then you're the practitioner second. So let's start off there, because they're like totally, you and I are in alignment, and trying to get real estate agents and mortgage loan officers to understand that we are first in the lead generation business before we are the practitioner. The way that you just articulated that was, dude, if you don't have leads, if you don't have attention, you don't have a business. So when you're speaking at stage, when you're leading your team, how is it that you're able to convince people that we need to be making content, we need to be focused on lead generation first? What is your mindset when it comes to that?
Yeah, so I think people have this mindset and they have this problem, I should say. There's a problem in this business, and that problem is exactly what you said. You're only as good as your current pipeline. Your business is, it's kind of sad to say this, but our business is worthless. Like if I were to say, I just spent a decade building this business, I'd love to exit and sell it. What's it worth?
Nothing.
It's worth nothing because it's so transactional.
That's right.
Unless you have a brand that's generating more business, that gives you some sort of repeatable business, your business isn't worth anything. And that's not to say it's not valuable. It is extremely valuable. My ability to help people with real estate transactions is very valuable. I make insane amount of money doing that, right? But it's all about what I can get. So what I found was, after years of doing this, I would do a lot of outbound, I did a lot of lead platforms and things. And if I felt like I was running on a treadmill, and then the second you stop, your business can basically starts to go down. Even though you do get some random referrals, that's not something you can particularly count on, right?
Yeah.
So I looked at my business and I was like, shit, I feel like I'm burnt out running on this treadmill, trying to do outbound and call people and talk to primarily people who don't necessarily want to talk to me. Even
Sure.
though we do just through numbers and attrition, you reach the people who do, and then you close some deals. I just was tired of doing that. I think, like, what do I really love about the job? I love it when people talk to me who respect me and really value what I'm the advice and the support and the level of service, because we really want to help people and really give them a high level of service and advice, a better experience than anybody else, right? That's our goal in this industry. We want to rise above the competitors, right? So someone who really appreciates that, those are my favorite clients. Like, and then the great thing about working with those clients is they're awesome to work with. Then afterwards, they give you great feedback. They refer you people. So I'm like, how would I conduct this business where I could get more of those people? And I was like, how do you scale kind of the unscalable? And
That's right.
it's exactly with what you talked about, is putting out content. So if I were to talk to people and ask them, what do you not like about this business? And what do you like? Like, the way to do more of what you like is to scale the amount of people who trust you and think of you first and respect you. I love working with clients like that. Those are the best clients, right? That makes you enjoy this
100%.
job. It makes you hate this job when people treat you like shit and they don't respect you. And they
Yeah. And they're
just
trying
think
to
of you
treat you
as a
like a
vendor.
commodity. Yeah.
Yeah,
When
like you're just another vendor.
that's right. And so I love that. Let me unpack some of that a little bit. So scaling the unscalable, right? I think you had Gary Vee on your podcast probably 2 years ago now. I don't know if you did a more recent one than that. And you guys talked a lot about that. Let's kind of give people some context on to like where to start. Because off air, I think you and I both said, like, the loan officer that watches this, the realtor who watches this, is saying to themselves right now, yes, I get it. I want to make content. I'm scared shitless. Don't know what to say. Don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Let's talk about helping the folks watching this show from a content strategy perspective. Because the other thing you said off air was like, it is all about strategy. You cannot just put up the phone, hit record and expect to get leads. So let's speak through the lens, because most of my audience is real estate agents.
Yep.
So like when you work with the real estate agent partner, from a content strategy, where do you think it starts?
So I think like there's value in just getting out there for sure. That's step one, putting yourself out there, sharing what you know, sharing the information. But the next step, and this is where people usually don't ever progress to, so they quit, is being better at creating content, optimizing the content, optimizing your delivery, right? Picking better topics, better hooks. So in the beginning, it's basic as, what are the common questions you're getting from clients? How would you answer them? What are the problems your clients face? How do you solve those problems? And there is endless lists of this if you're in the real estate industry. Mistakes buyers make, mistakes sellers make, ways to make the process easier for you, common pitfalls to avoid. Mistake avoidance is a huge topic. Like if I'm thinking about buying a property and I'm a year away, how could I avoid some mistakes leading into that? Like I may not be in the market today, but I would love to watch that video real quick, because I want to save that. And I noticed a lot of people save that content for later, or they share it with their friends and family. So step one would be to create that type of content. And the purpose of most of the content is to speak to people who are a little bit higher in the funnel. So if you think of a sales funnel, the top is people who are a year out, bottom, middle is like 6 months, and the bottom is, I want to buy a house in the next 30 to 60 days. So all of us, the entire industry, is all in this very bottom, very tiny triangle.
We're all addicted to instant gratification. We're all addicted to it.
But the thing is, that's how we get paid. So we have to, like, we would go broke talking to people all day who are a year out from buying a house. So like, it doesn't make sense for us to do that. And that's why we don't. But who does speak to those people? Zillow and these big brands, right? Realtor.com.
100%.
Like, so you can speak to them through the videos passively, because it doesn't take you any more time. You shoot the video once and you don't have to, you don't have to do anything. You post it, right? So you're speaking to those people regularly. You're also speaking to people in your sphere. You're also speaking to people who are ready to transact. You're speaking to the whole funnel, and that allows you to do that passively. So getting started, I would think of those topics along those lines, problems and solutions. And then the first thing you have to do is, I noticed a lot of people are quitting creating content because it didn't work. Well, the reason it didn't work was very few people are watching the videos. The reason very few people are watching the videos is because you're starting the videos incorrectly. So the way you need to start these videos is with a good hook. And you have to think about this. People's time on platform, if they're going to give it to you, there is so much noise right now. It's ridiculous. Like if you scroll through, I think that the other day somebody showed me they're scrolling through the app and they went through almost 100 pieces of content in just over a minute, right? It was like, how
Yeah.
did you get through that so fast? But they're just going like this,
Yeah.
maybe they stop every once in a while, but they're scrolling. How do you get them to stop and give you their attention? And then now that you have their attention, are you going to waste it? Or are you going to give them something of value? So you have to think about like, would I want to watch this video? What would I get out of this video if I was a consumer? Right.
Yep.
And that's the thing people are missing. They're thinking what I would like to get out of this video as the realtor or loan officer. The way you have to think about it is like, what would somebody else get out of this? Even if they're not transacting today. Right. So a lot of the videos that fail are things that only people would find valuable if they were right in the middle of a transaction. So I saw another, a lender put out a video. I think it was a realtor lender team. They put out a video. I'll give you an example. What are closing costs? Today, we're going to tell you about closing costs. So if we were doing this, we'd be like, hey, this is Neil. This is Brandon. Today, we guys are going to tell you about closing costs. I can guarantee you the thumb's gone, right? It's over.
Yep. Off, clicked off.
Yeah. So what if I started? That's a boring topic. That's probably the worst topic when it comes to real estate costs. But what if I started the video like this? I want to tell you a way you can save $8,000 to $10,000 when you buy your first property. You'd be like, oh shit. I mean, I'm not buying for a couple of years, but I want to watch that. Or my sister's about to buy. Let me save this for her. And then so what happens is you watch it. In that video, I'll go on to say, well, there's this thing called closing costs, which are part of any deal. They get split between the buyer and seller, blah, blah, blah. But there's a way you can avoid them. You can have the seller pay for them. Here's how you can build that into the deal. Or you can get a lender to give you a credit to cover some or all of your costs. That way, all you have to do is worry about your down payment and blah, 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 right? So that'll only take you 30 seconds to say. But the way you start it is the most important thing. And that's the piece that I think people are missing. They're not starting correctly.
Love it. So it's okay. So I just took a lot of notes there. Love it.
Yeah, sorry, I went off on like 4 tangents.
No, it's great. It's really good stuff. And so I want to unpack that a little bit because you did just give so much great information. But for the new content creator, I've been making videos on YouTube for like 5 years and I still am terrible. Like I'm still figuring it out.
Still getting better.
It's like,
and you get better over time. Just
absolutely.
Reps.
And so we just crossed over, I think 30,000 subs today. And it's like, my team's like, oh, I'm like, man, we don't know shit yet. We're still learning a lot. And I bet
if you looked back at your videos from year one,
terrible,
you're like
fucking terrible. Yeah. They're brutal. I tell all my coaching clients, go watch my first video on YouTube. You will fucking laugh your ass off. It's so bad.
I could barely speak on camera.
Yeah. So, but the thing that's really important, turn that off. You nailed it. It's like the hook is the absolute critical piece. The title and then how we open up the video is the whole thing.
Yeah. And it's a little bit different on YouTube versus Instagram, but still its basic concept is the same, right? You have to start hot.
Yeah. And I look at when I'm trying to come up with a title or a concept or a topic, really to your point, and this is where the content creators are really, really getting this wrong. It's like this want versus need, right? So as the creator, you said something that reminded me of like the real estate agent wants to talk about closing cost because they think they need to explain that. Nobody wants to hear about closing costs, to your point. Yes. How do you take a boring subject of closing cost and tell a story that in a way where people want to know about? So it's this want versus need, and taking the information you think people need and giving them what they want. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. Let me give you another example. So this is a boring topic somebody in the office wanted to do. Should you get a 30-year mortgage or a 15-year mortgage?
Yep.
I mean, it's important, but it's boring as shit, right? Nobody gives a shit about 30 or 15 year. They don't even know the difference, right? So here's how you start that video. Do you want to hear some horrible advice? Dave Ramsey says you should only buy a house with a 15-year loan. The problem is 15-year loan has a really high payment, and that would keep many people from qualifying. There used to be a big difference between 15-year and 30-year rate. Now it's actually pretty narrow. So for most people, the best choice is going to be a standard 30-year fixed loan.
Yeah, I love it.
30 seconds. And it's like, dude, I started with a hook. Do you want to hear some horrible advice?
It's so good.
Dude, you got my attention, right? Like, so you have to think about this. Stop with the intros, just go straight into it.
There's
little things you can do on YouTube. You have more of people are there to watch longer videos, so you can make them longer. On Instagram, people are not, they're there to just consume quickly. So you have to be quick and to the point. And so learning the differences of like what do I do on YouTube? What do I do on Instagram? What do I do on Facebook? Because there's a little bit of nuance to each one.
Yeah, I would agree. And I want to talk about platforms in just a second. The other thing is, when we talk about that, the sales funnel as an example. So like everybody always asks me, Neil, and I want your thoughts on this too. Like, well, how often should I post? Right. Well, let's just look at the sales funnel example. You said scale the unscalable. The way in which I look at content is if people would commit to 3 pieces of content per week, one for top of funnel, one for people in the middle of the funnel, and one that speaks to people at the bottom of the funnel. When I think about scaling the unscalable, it's from a messaging perspective, because we're answering the same questions all the time from clients, from leads, and from prospects, top of funnel. Well, how do we create a content strategy in a way that serves all of those audiences? And so what is your opinion on frequency and strategy? Because that's the way I look at it. If you can go to 3 a week, I think that's a really good place to start.
Yes.
I mean, anything is better than nothing, but 3 a week, you can serve multiple different audiences.
Yeah. As far as on one platform or any platform.
And we'll get platform specific in a second, but yeah, anywhere.
Yeah. Okay. So I think here's a common problem that I see this happen all the time. Somebody gets hyped up, they go to an event or they hear a podcast. You know what? I'm listening to Brandon. He got me all riled up. I'm going to go start. I'm doing video. I commit. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
January 1, let's go hard. Start going hard. January, we're posting like daily. February, it starts to wean off. March, it goes even worse. And then you're done for the year, or like you just become sporadic. So I would say this, pick something that is going to be sustainable for the long term, because all of the results from this are found through consistency. So it would be better to be consistent and say, hey, I'm going to do it Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm going to post a video or even just once a week. That would be better if you could stick with it for the whole year versus going hard for 40 days and then quitting because you got burnt out or you don't have the time, right? So pick something that would be sustainable and then ramp it up from there. So if you can just do Tuesday, Thursday, or 3 times, obviously it'd be great. But if you can just post these quick videos once or twice a week, every week, 52 weeks a year, then you'll start to see the results. Along the way, you'll start to get some momentum. Maybe one of them takes off. Maybe some deals start coming through because of it. People start sharing it because they come to view you as the trusted person in their sphere of content.
Yeah.
So then once you start getting those results, I think what'll happen is you'll start to get motivated to do more. Like I think of it as kind of like a reason why people quit doing it is because they're not getting any results or feedback. So it'd be, it's human nature to be like, well, F this, it didn't really work.
Yeah. And like anything else, I think it takes time. I mean, I just said we've been posting on YouTube consistently for a long time. It was like 2-3 years. I mean, I was sitting at like 10 subs for like 2 years. I'm like, this is insane. This is so hard.
I think it's broken. I thought my channel was broken at one point.
Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck?
I was Googling, am I being shadow banned or what?
Yeah.
Why isn't people liking my content? Well, my content wasn't good yet. Or,
exactly.
I hadn't put in the reps yet. That's why.
Same. So the other thing when it comes to frequency that I think that helps, I want your feedback on this. The advice that I get when like a coaching client will say, okay, when it comes to frequency, what do I post? I like the idea of having a specific strategy when it comes to content. Like here's an example, right? So for a real estate agent, this will make all the sense in the world. This is the advice I give all the time. So it is very simple for a real estate agent to take the monthly market stats, right? That's boring. Yes. We're going to use that information to tell a story. There's one video a month for sure. That's an easy one, right? Then another one could be a specific real estate tip or strategy, right? How to compete in a multiple offer situation, how to get the most for your home, things like that. Yes. The tips you were just giving. So there's 2 a month. Then I like to grab one of a referral partner, like a loan officer, a CPA, a divorce attorney, interview them once a week on a show, right? So you've got a show you're producing once a week. And then 4 would be to interview a local business owner. So these are, when I give that, it makes it more clear for the realtor to say, okay, now I have a specific goal every week. I know what topic or strategy I'm going after. It makes it easier for them to plug and play. What are your thoughts on something like that?
Yeah, I think that's great because you're being intentional about the content you're going to create and you have a plan. So what happens is I would put it on my calendar to shoot content. And then we'd spend the time trying to figure out what content to shoot. And then the time we wouldn't shoot anything. We didn't get anything done. Right. So it works so much better when it's on the calendar, Thursday at 3:00, we're making a video. Here's what we're doing the video on. Right.
Yeah.
If it's you shooting it by yourself because you set up a studio in your home, great. Or your office, whatever. Or if you have a videographer coming, like know what you're going to be doing before before it's there, or put it on the calendar. And I like all the ideas. Personally, I tried the business owner thing and did not work for me because it adds a lot of time because you have to coordinate all these business owners. And what was bothering me about that is that the business owner, we were putting a lot of effort into creating these videos for the business owner, tagging them, giving them the content. They weren't even like sharing or posting it properly. So I'm like, I'm literally doing a service to you. You don't have any content out there. I'm helping you tremendously with a high quality video. And you don't even have the few minutes to post it. Like,
because they don't get it either.
Nobody
gets content.
Right. So I'm starting to get really frustrated with these people. We're giving them high quality content. They're not doing their end. So I was like, I'm becoming a tour guide for my town. And so that may work for a realtor if you stick with it and you really love restaurants or small businesses, things like that. But for me, I found my niche in informational content. So when you talked about the informational content, there is lists and lists and lists of information that you could provide. When you give this content, people love numbered lists, like as far as like what they're going to get out of this. So I noticed 1 to 3 items, meaning like these are the top 3 mistakes. These are the top 2 things that I would be focused on going into new year. Like all these things work good on Instagram. On YouTube, I found like 5 to 7 are great, right? You could say these are the top 6 or 7 because they're there for long form. So they'll sit through a longer list. If you start a video on Instagram and saying these are the top 7 things that buyers like, they're going to be like, oh, I'm out. Dude, I don't have time for that, because their intention on the platform was to be quick. So you just have to adjust your content for the platform. A lot of people talk about repurposing content. So they'll shoot a YouTube video and they just throw it up on Instagram, but it dies on Instagram because it's not, you have to purpose it like properly for the platform.
Yeah. It makes a ton of sense. So yeah, I mean, going back to like the whole business owner thing you're talking about, it is hard for a realtor. I think that it might even make more sense because the most searchable content in our space is like the most affordable cities to live in.
Yes.
Right. Stuff like that for a realtor is incredible. And so you might want to replace something like that, or top 10 schools in this state, or, top ranked restaurants in this city.
There's a guy who just met with me yesterday in Nevada. He came by the office and he was like, hey, I found you on Instagram. Would love to talk shop about content. He created a YouTube channel a couple of years back, and it's all about this type of content you're talking about. He went hard on YouTube, nothing else, no other platform. And he generated 200 inbound leads from his YouTube channel last year. It resulted in 57, he said, 57 like applications to get the process started. And then those 57 turned into 21 actual closed deals from his channel alone.
Phenomenal.
And he was just starting, like the content isn't even good. So I can imagine next year, if it gets better, now it could be even more. And what he found was in his market, he was only one of 3 people that consistently created those videos throughout the entire year. So if you're in a market where people are moving to, there is so much traffic right now of people searching for exactly what you said. What's it like to live in this community? What are the top schools in this community? They're just literally typing this stuff into Google.
That's right.
And your videos can be served up. Like you can rank for free organically on YouTube. So I was shocked because like he was one of the guys who actually stuck with it and showed me his numbers. And I saw this funnel of like, these are the people that reached out. These are the deals. And then these are the checks at the end. I was like, oh shit, this really worked for you.
Yeah. I mean, that's the next time we do that, we'll probably go deep on that strategy alone and how to help these people get them through the funnel. So the next thing I want to talk about is like, and I do want to talk about today, Neil, on like, how do we turn a viewer into a lead? I want to get to that in just a second, but before we do that, some video tactics. Sure. So, for me, there's a couple things that have helped me. Number one is like batch creating content, right? Has really helped a lot. So today I'm in my studio doing this all day. And so I can focus on this because you're right. Most real guys just don't have the time. I'm so busy. It's not scheduled. And I always say if things aren't scheduled, they don't happen. What's on your calendar happens. So that would be number one, would be to like batch content, create a day where a couple hours on that same day you're creating content. And then as I'm making videos, I've tried a whole bunch of different ways. I really want your thoughts on going totally scripted, bullet point, and then like totally raw. For me, bullet points have worked the best. So I have talking points. I know what I need to hit. I've tried full scripted videos and I've tried just go, free flowing. Do you prefer one way or the other?
Yeah. So I used to follow this strategy. You hear the Gary Vee talk about document, don't create, make it easy. So the common mistake people make in content creation is they'll look at somebody who's already made it and has a big audience. They'll be like, oh, he's crushing it with this type of content. I'm going to do that.
True.
What you don't realize is that that person paid their dues, built an audience that already knows, likes, and trusts them. And a lot of their content is being viewed by their existing audience who shares it. And it goes, it has a wide reach just through network effect. When you're first starting out, you don't have that deep connection with the audience. You don't have that network. So you have to be more intentional. So what I found works the best right now, if you want results, is to be intentional, not with the full script, but with at least bullet points of what we're going to talk about. Here's the title, the hook, here are the bullet points I'm going to cover, and then that's the end. And if you can have a little bit of structure to your content, it's relevant content, it's structured, you're speaking intelligently about the topic because you did some research ahead of time. Those videos are, for me right now, are performing the best. For example, everybody heard this Zillow thing that crashed recently. They exited the iBuyer business, massive news, right? So I'm like, shit, I need to make a YouTube video about this, right? I'm not even going hard on YouTube, but I'm committing to doing more of that in the future. So I immediately turn the camera, immediately open up a Word doc or Google Doc, type out my hook, a couple of hook ideas, picked one of them, and then I wrote down the main things I wanted to cover. How'd they get into this business? What went wrong? What does this mean for the housing market? I'm literally starting my video being like, Zillow just announced they're exiting the business. Their stock is crashing. What does this mean for the housing market? Does this mean the housing market is going to crash? Well, I'm going to go over that today and then go through those 3 topics. So like I'm being very intentional about what I'm going to tell you today. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't have that scripted. I had a structure, but that video for me is my best performing YouTube video right now. I got like, it doesn't sound big because I have a small channel, but I got like 4,000 or 5,000 views. And people are watching majority of the video, which is the cool thing. Like on the back end, you look
absolutely your analytics.
I'm like 60% of the people are finishing the whole video, which is the highest I've ever seen on any of my content. So I'm retaining the viewer through that. And to me, like I have short form video on Instagram that has 400,000 or 500,000 views. I was more excited about the 4,000 views I got on YouTube because they sat there and watched me talk for 7 minutes. Yeah. Like that's huge. On Instagram, it's just an impression. Like they could have just watched for 30 seconds or less, maybe 3 seconds. I don't know. But like, it's a deep connection with the viewer there. So I just think like, if you can have a structure in the beginning, be more intentional as you get a bigger audience, you can just talk like, so the reason why I came across this, Brandon, was I did some content where I would just have a podcast with somebody like yourself, or we're sitting there talking with the topic. And then we would take that and chop out some clips. When I post those clips on Instagram right now, they do okay. They're decent. But when I post one where I tell the viewer directly what I'm going to teach them today, those are outperforming by exponential difference, like way more. I'm getting, 50, 100,000, 200,000 views on those. And then the one where I cut it from a random thing, I'm getting like 10,000. So it's like, it's a big difference. And I was like, okay, so I guess because I don't have a huge audience yet, and because it's a lot of new people seeing me for the first time, they don't necessarily want to passively watch me talk. They want to know what they're going to learn from me right away.
I love it. And I agree with you. So you and I do it the exact same way. I mean, here's my bullets for this interview right here. I've been working on this. I started yesterday and I looked at your content, and that Zillow video I just saw, it was like, so I've gone all out on YouTube, right? So I'm studying analytics. I'm looking at everything. And that for you was a great outbreak video. It did
really helped my channel. And then it
well.
Added a bunch of subs too.
That's right. Crazy. So that's why we're spending a lot of we're doing 5 videos a week on YouTube right now. And one is committed to reporting the news in our space, right? Real estate and mortgage space. So we're producing a show every Friday. with my business partner, who runs our mortgage operation. And that's exactly what we're doing as well. All right. So I create videos the same way, right? Bullets. And then it just helps you stay on track. So speaking of bullets, the next bullet point on my list for us is let's talk to the audience, Neil, about converting a viewer into a lead. And so I want to get into like some lead magnets that you're finding that are working really well, and how you're taking a complete stranger and getting them into your sales funnel. What are you guys finding that works well
okay,
right now?
To your point, and to everybody listening and watching, they may love content creation, they may love the likes and the shares and the channel growth, but at the end of the day, we got to get paid, man. We got to eat.
About leads, it's lead generation.
I got employees to pay here. I got a family to feed, right? And I want to grow. I want to grow a business, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to help me help more people, right? This is a financial game. So how do we get more business from this? I don't want cold leads. I talked about earlier in the podcast. I want warm leads. I want people that know, like, and trust me a little bit, right? So what I found was, in the videos, you can have the best video content that works for me is just straight informational with no call to action. But what I found was people reach out to you anyways. So in your caption or in the video, you could say, DM me if you want more information, or see the link in my bio if you want information. Or in YouTube, you can have a link in the description that people could book a call with you or go deeper. So what I found was, like, you get a lot of questions and conversations. These conversations lead to deals, right?
Yeah.
And I was handing them randomly, and it wasn't really being tracked. So I felt a little bit scattered. So I was like, I need to centralize this. So what I did was I built a quick landing page. Do this on Wix, ClickFunnels, whatever you want to use, lead pages. And the landing page it's not a web page. It's not everything. It's just one thing. Okay. The one thing I want you to do from this page. So on that page, there's a video, which basically introduces myself and says what I would say if I was talking to a new client.
Sure.
For the first time. So they find me through my content on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, they watch some content, then they go click on this link because they want to talk further about buying a rental property or buying their first home. The page that comes up is a quick 47-second video that introduces me to them and asks them to either book a call or start the application process. As a realtor, it would just be book a call, because you don't need to do a pre-call, right? You're not the lender.
Yep.
So if it's just one option, book a call with me. That is linked to Calendly, and they book the call. It automatically sends out a Zoom link and puts it on the calendar. So I was shocked at, like, the weird hours of the day, of night, essentially, that these come in. So people watch these YouTube videos, binge watch on a Thursday at fucking 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Which you would never be able to be on a call with them at that time anyways. You're sleeping.
That's right.
And they book a Zoom call with you for the next day. And a lot of people in this business complain, like, my clients expect me to be available 24/7. Well, on Calendly, you can just tell them when you're available. When are you available?
Thing. That's right.
You're available at these hours. Book a call, and you'll be surprised if you tell people when you're available. They will pick a time that works for you. You don't have to pick a time that works for Brandon. I can pick a time that works for Neil, and that's dope. Like, you take control of your calendar. Now, I'm realistic. I know that people are busy, so I put some evening times in there. I put a Saturday, every other Saturday in there, because I know people, may want some additional scheduling. So for this particular appointment, not for every client, but for this particular internet page, you can make custom availability and make it, give some evenings, give a weekend day if you want, right? But I'm surprised that really works best, because they find the content. So the funnel is, they watch your content. They may watch a lot of it. They may be watching for the past 6 months. Then at some point, a need arises. They go to this landing page, they book a call with you. Now it's on your calendar. For me, I sync that with my CRM. So I use Salesforce. So when that lead comes in, they book a call, it automatically creates the lead in my CRM, because that's a valued client. Like, that's a valued lead.
Absolutely.
They took the time to do that. So now I can follow up. If they flake on the call, I can reach back out to them. If after the call goes, I can quickly pull up the lead, which has already been created, and add my notes. Hey, talk to Brandon. He's looking to buy a rental property within the next 90 days. Here's how we're going to do it, blah, blah, blah. Right. So I just keep track of it and be really organized with it. And then I noticed now I can track, like, how many leads I'm getting from that page. And then it shows me the fruits of my labor of all this content. It's like, dude, it's actually working, because all these people are booking calls with me.
Exactly right. I love it. And I want to share a perspective for all the real estate agents out there. Like, what we're finding that's working really well, Neil, is, so I like to, like, weave in the content strategy that leads the viewer to that landing page. So as an example,
yes,
what's working really well for us is we're generating listing leads, right, that become the best buyer leads that we can refer to our lenders, by the way. So we always focus on listing first. Those are the best buyers, at least in our opinion. So how we're doing that is we've created just a short video, just to your point, teaching sellers how we're getting buyers to overpay for their home. So that's our lead magnet, if you will. So
yes.
people are really interested in that hook. Going back to titles, going back to hook. Like when I say to a seller, right, and I say to them, if I gave you an offer that from a buyer that's willing to overpay for your house, give you more than it's worth, would you find value in understanding how, right? So they say, yeah, they watch the video, same thing. They go through that exact same process. So,
I'll give you an example. Like I just did a video on really dumbing it down to a basic level, because I think in this industry, we all have a tendency to over explain things and use jargon and things like that. So on YouTube, I'll go deeper and give more information. On Instagram, I'll give very just little bit. And it's almost like I cut myself off and didn't give all the story, because I want the wheels to start turning and them to ask the question, well, wait, what about this? Or how would this work for me? You want those types of questions, because that starts the conversation. So on Instagram, I did a quick video about how, did you know you can use $18,000 to acquire $500,000 worth of real estate. Here's how. And that's common knowledge to us in this business. Like a 3 to 4%, 3.5% down payment on a property that's common knowledge. You would be shocked at the comments on this. I didn't know you could do that. How is that possible? Can we jump on a call? Like in literally public comments, people are asking for like the business right there publicly. And that was in addition to the people who sent DMs and booked calls. So I was like, oh shit, this is a lot of people don't even understand the basics. They don't even know anything about this process. And they're turned off by the way people are currently educating them, which is like in a salesy way. So I just put out information with a good hook. Did you know you could do this?
Yep.
So it's like what the formula is basically what you thought was not possible, how it is possible. That's a great piece of content.
Love it.
You know what I mean? Mistakes avoidance, different things like this. There's all types of these main pillars, and then you can fill in how they apply to your business, and you'll come up with topics for days. I think a lot of people are like, yo, I can't come up with anything. Once you start coming up with stuff, you'll find that the list is endless. There's endless shit we could be talking about every day.
All the time. The other thing I think we're finding that's working really well is we used to any type of call to action or leading people somewhere to get their free whatever. We used to do it at the end of the video, right? Like that's what we thought was intuitive. We started putting it at the 40% mark, whether this was a 60-second clip on Instagram or a 60-minute segment on YouTube. At the 40% mark, because average view duration is usually around 50% on everything. So our call to action, we put before the 50% mark, and our leads probably tripled actually, because does that make sense?
Yeah.
So instead of waiting to the end of the video, right? So if I'm making a video
because only a certain number of people are even making it to the end.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So
I was using it as a filter because I was getting better quality, but less. So I got my stuff to the point where I don't want to jump on 15 calls this week. I'd rather jump on 3, but I know the right 3 really trust me. And when I'm on the call with those 3, they're like, dude, been watching your videos for like months. You're great. Hey,
instant credibility, instant expert authority.
Some of them are even like, it's crazy. I have a small audience relatively, right, to these big creators. And like, you'd be surprised when you jump on a call with somebody and they're like, hey, Brandon, dude, I didn't even think it was going to be you on the call. This is awesome to meet you. And they're all stoked just to be on the call with you. And you're like, oh shit, me? Fuck, I'm just a realtor or loan officer, right? And then the other thing that they say is, dude, thanks for taking the time. And I was like, dude, that's so nice. Like I spent so much time, years and years chasing people down and bothering them. And now they're like, dude, I don't mean to bother you, but do you have time to talk to me about buying a house? I'm like, shit.
It's a completely different dynamic. And the first time a loan officer or a realtor experiences that, they'll understand the power of content. Because
dude, that was the game changer. That was the light bulb for me. I was like, I would really like to talk to these types of people more, because it makes me feel good about myself.
Because when people view you through the screen, you automatically earn that in their mind, the perception that they have, is like, you know way more than I do. You're elevated in that person's mind, whether it be real or not. It's a perception, right?
Yeah.
Value in the eye. Yeah, go ahead.
I would love to get your opinion on this too. When you said you get elevated, this is 100% true. I mean, I'm shocked at how much credibility and respect I gain in just 2 minutes of them watching videos. They're like, oh shit, this guy knows his stuff, whatever. So I think part of that, if I'm being honest, is the quality of good, being a good communicator, but then also the quality of the video. And I know a lot of people will say this, dude, don't worry about quality, just shoot with your phone, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to kind of throw people for a loop and say, dude, I think it does matter, because I'm finding that the respect you get from those few minutes it is important that they see you clearly, that you're lit properly, and that you can be heard clearly. You have a good mic, and I don't mean spend thousands and thousands of dollars. This is $100. You know what I mean? A light that I'm using for this call is $150, and it's a great professional light, right? So you don't have to spend a ton of money. That's not what I'm saying, but I do think you should put a little bit of effort into that, because that goes a long way when somebody's seen you for the very first time and they're judging you. What do you think?
Yeah. So generally speaking, I agree, because if the lighting is bad or the audio is number one, lighting's number two. Sure. And if those two things are fucked up, people are clicking off, and they're not even gonna give you a chance. So you absolutely got to take that.
I think they won't say it, but their opinion of you dropped.
Absolutely. Overnight, or not overnight, in 1 second, in 1 millisecond. There is a time and place for raw, like Gary Vee talks about, right? Like, I had his sister on my show, and we talked a lot about that. Like, her videos, she's of the opinion that, like, there is a place and time for, like, that raw, authentic, just turn on the phone. Like, a great example of that would be if you're showing a property, per se,
out in the field. Yeah,
that's right. Out in the field vlog type of style, so people can kind of get a behind the scenes look. I think there's some really good value for that.
But even there, Brandon, like, there's ways that you can enhance that. So when you go outside to shoot the selfie raw video in the field, just make sure the sun is on that side of the camera. That's right.
People don't get that. The light has to be on this side, people. If you're doing it on the wrong side. I know.
So all you have to do is, if you don't understand that, just basically take the phone out and just start turning in a circle until you like the way you look.
I know.
You'll notice when the sun hits you a certain way,
you look great.
You literally wipe 10 years off your face.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh shit, I look good. I like this. A, that's going to make you more likely to post it. And B, you're going to look better for your clients. Just lighting is everything, right? With as far as visuals go, I don't think you need $5,000 camera. I think your iPhone is great. All you need is good light.
That's right.
As audio goes, you need $100 microphone, and you will sound like a god compared to what normally people sound like.
Yeah, and the thing that changed my life for, like, being out in the field are these little Rode wireless mics.
There you go.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, I have the same thing.
Same thing. You just throw it on your shirt and you're good to go.
Yeah. So if you're more than, is another tip for people, if you're more than an arm's length away from the phone, you need a mic, because
that's right.
It's like Brandon just said, audio is most important. If people can't hear you, they're just going to keep scrolling. It's over. And it's really annoying when you have to turn the volume all the way up on your phone and you still can barely hear what the person's saying. So you need to be heard clearly. If you go to my content on Instagram, I invested a little bit extra in audio, because the audio is really punchy. Like, I don't have a super strong voice, but the mic, if you get these USB or podcast style mics, it boosts it a little bit and you sound better. And then if you sound better, people listen longer.
I love your mic that you use on the Instagram, because the one you're using right now is different than the one you use on IG.
Yeah, it's a little different, but it's the same concept. Yeah, because the one on the videos is has a preamp.
Yeah, it's crispy. It's real crispy. Keep using it. You sound great.
Yeah, but I noticed that was getting me more engagement.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, people must. I mean, it does help. So I do agree with Liz when she's saying, like, just shoot the videos raw, use your phone. But, like, there is another caveat to that, which is, quality can get you a little bit further.
Absolutely.
I don't want you to use it as an excuse to not start, but once you get started, like, invest in a little bit of quality.
What was the first thing you said? The first piece of advice you gave, and I wrote it down, was, like, you constantly be optimizing the content. Like, you just always getting better, always getting better. All right. So I want to talk about platforms. So
sure.
I want to prioritize them, Neil, right? Because here's another thing is, I think this is a massive, massive mistake that people are making, where they are trying to be in all places. They want a TikTok, they want an Instagram, they want YouTube, they want Facebook, they want Clubhouse. And my opinion,
spread thin.
Yeah, my opinion is you focus on one platform at a time. What is your thoughts? Do you think people should spread, or do you think they should go narrow focus and go deep one platform at a time?
I think you should pick one to start with. And then I call this squeezing your content. If you have time and if you can set up a workflow, like you have an admin who could help you with this, or you have an extra time you could block on the calendar to repurpose, there is some value in squeezing the content by reposting it elsewhere. So for example, if I were to say Instagram is my best platform right now because I've really found a niche with short form. So I'm running with that. I'm posting every day on Instagram.
Okay. You're going hard there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So these videos, because I'm getting a couple hundred people a day because of that. Right. So now I've been going hard. Now at some point I might say, well, you know what, I'm going to shift to YouTube. But now I've built a really engaged audience here. I could say, hey guys, check out my YouTube. I'm posting every Tuesday and Thursday there. There's a reason to subscribe there. Right now I'm posting randomly. So I understand why my channel is not growing because I'm not being consistent. Right. So I would say pick one and be consistent, but then you could take those videos. And I found this out, just by testing the video that I created for Instagram, I just would throw up on Facebook. Now it may only get a couple hundred views or maybe even 80 views. It doesn't matter, but those are resulting in extra people that never would have seen it. And it's resulting in a few extra deals here and there because there's people on those platforms that just would have never seen your stuff on Instagram or YouTube, but they're on Facebook every day. So close there. And then I would just take the same video and I would throw it up on LinkedIn. And it maybe only gets, 20 or 30 views on LinkedIn in the beginning. It's eventually that goes up, but it's still people that would have never seen it because those people are not on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. So you have to meet the customer where they're at. So if you've already got the video, you may as well throw it up there. That's second level. But I would just say, you've already spent the time and energy to create that piece of content. You should squeeze it. And then what's cool about YouTube is they just came out, last year with shorts. So now you can take that short video and you can throw it up on YouTube Shorts and you have a chance of going viral with YouTube Shorts, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, and I know, we repurpose a lot. We really like this. This is an hour-long segment. This is a long form content. This video is probably going to be, so we'll have the long form go up and then we'll probably have 10 other videos and probably 15 to 20 for other platforms. And so to your point, if you shoot it once, that's why I like long form. That's why we started on YouTube. The long form help us go cross platform because now most of my content on Instagram is cut up for these long forms. One thing that I want to just really cover on platforms is for loan officers and realtors, generally speaking, it's a local business, right? It's a local business, generally speaking. I mean, you have some loan officers that are licensed in all these different states, all that.
That's becoming a little bit more prevalent just because
post-COVID,
people don't care where you are.
That's right. But for realtors, it's very hyper local business. So I'm under the belief that for a real estate agent, from a priority standpoint, that they would prioritize Facebook and Instagram over YouTube. Generally speaking, if they were going to pick one, right? And someone put me on the spot, Neil, and said, okay, Brandon, which one should I, you and Neil just told me focus on one, which one? I would say Facebook, Instagram over YouTube for a realtor, for a loan officer. What advice would you give? Would you agree with that, or do you see that differently?
I would say that it's great. If you want to come, it could be your preference to pick YouTube, and then you have a little bit of a harder road because it takes longer to create those videos. It takes longer to get traction there, but the upside is greater there because of the thing I talked about earlier, where people are watching longer videos. So they're going to be more connected with you. But if you're just getting started, I would definitely recommend just starting with Instagram and Facebook because it's easy. You're already using those platforms. Most people are there daily.
Exactly.
It's easy for you to create for example, you talk about batch creating. I love that. That's the way I create my short form content. I create a bunch of them. So I wrote a list of topics. I kind of refined the way I want to say them, not fully scripted, but just some good hooks and bullet points. And then last night was my day at 4:00 to 6:00 before I go home. I'm going to shoot these videos. So going into that 2-hour block, I have my list. I'm prepared, and I turn the camera on and I shoot. I made 10 reels last night during that time period.
Phenomenal.
I couldn't have made 10 YouTube videos, right? So I got 10 now ready. I gave it to my editing team, who's going to help me cut them up a little bit and make them a little bit better. In the beginning, I just used to do that myself. Sure. But then as I got more volume, I hired an editor to help me with that stuff. So now they're being edited. Next week, I'll have 10 in the hopper ready to go. And I'll do the same thing next Thursday. And I'll do the same thing next Thursday. So batch creating is huge. But for the beginning, like you can bang out a lot of these videos as a beginner because
Absolutely.
the topics are, these videos should be right around 30, 40-second videos. So at least allows you to like get going, you know what I mean? Like get started with it faster versus YouTube. It's going to be hard for you to get the volume needed to get any traction in the beginning.
Big time. Dude, this is a lot of fun, man. I hope that you enjoyed this as much as I did, because again, I just think that you and I can be doing so much stuff together. I hope that this is the beginning of that, is my goal.
Yeah.
I'm going to link to all of your social platforms in the description. So you guys go check out Neil's Instagram. It is packed with value. I promise you. That's how I found you.
And please steal my content. Please take an idea, make it your own. I'm not saying plagiarize, do the word for word, but like how I get inspiration a lot of times is I watch a video. I'm like, I could do my version of that. That's a great way to get ideas. Yeah. Many of my ideas came from somebody else's idea. So if you see a piece of content on there, you're like, dude, I could do that similar version. Like just bang it out. Do it in your own way.
I love it, dude. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. This was a lot of fun, and I'm sure we'll do more soon. All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for having me.